60 Minutes Rewind.
Nestled in the Appalachian Mountains along the eastern borders of Kentucky and Ohio sits Huntington, West Virginia, a place so consumed by the opioid epidemic it has been crowned the overdose capital of America. At its worst, people here were dying from drug abuse at a rate 8 times the national average. The small city of 50,000 fell victim to a fading economy and birth of despair. The depths of that despair unfolded in the summer of 2016. A mass overdose pushed a desperate city to try something never done before. Their single mission? Saving Huntington.
Cabell County 911, where's your emergency?
Cabell County 911, where's your emergency?
The calls started coming in at 3:21 on a warm August afternoon.
She's laying in my floor dying.
I understand. We're trying to get her.
People were collapsing across the city.
Copy, we're on Charleston now.
All Huntington units.
Rocky Johnson, a 28-year veteran of the police force and head of the drug unit, was on call that day.
I'm driving up 8th Avenue, and the chief of police calls me. And he goes, "Hey, have you heard the radio? We've got 24 people and counting that have overdosed."
3 overdoses right here. St. Mary's ER with an overdose.
It just went crazy. The police department, EMS, the fire department, because they're trying to bring people back to life.
In just 4 hours, 26 people had overdosed on a batch of fentanyl-laced heroin.
I think everybody became aware that things had changed that day.
When Hank Dial stepped in as police chief 17 months later, his force was overwhelmed. Huntington, once a thriving industrial hub, had been crippled by years of job loss, rising crime, and 1,600 overdoses the previous year. Chief Dial took a drastic step. He asked the feds to send help, even requesting the National Guard.
I think when you think about the National Guard, you think about an emergency, that there's been a flood, there's been a tornado, something terrible.
Yeah.
Did you feel like this was an emergency for this community?
Absolutely, we treated this like an emergency. I call anybody that'll help.
Last April, dozens of agents from the DEA, FBI, and ATF
Come on.
joined the 8-man Huntington drug unit. A small army working block by block.
Shut up!
Rounding up addicts.
Walk this way. Come on.
Arresting dealers. Shutting down drug dens that had taken root throughout the city's residential neighborhoods. Inside one raid, there were meth pipes on a baby's changing table and a handwritten note telling addicts not to use dope in the bathroom because that's where the baby will be taking his bath.
When you go out on these raids, you look around on the floor and there's diapers, bottles, kids' toys. That stuff takes your breath away.
Yeah, it does. It's always had an effect on me. But it really changed about 6 years ago when I had a daughter. And man, it's not good.
Did you think this is not winnable?
Yeah, I tell you what, we pounded it day in, day out, almost 24 hours a day, me and my guys, and you'd think, oh good, we can catch our breath for the next couple of days. No, the next day they're right back at it. Somebody just filled the spot. And that is when I started to think, as hard as we're pressing and as hard as we're pounding away at this problem, we're not making any difference.
You guys realized you couldn't just arrest people, you had to do more.
Our side is to disrupt the supply. But what was invariably left behind was a group of people who were the buyers, who were still coming to the store looking for that.
Huntington police realized to break the cycle, they had to curb demand. That meant getting addicts into treatment. So Chief Dial took an unusual step. He hired Krishana Harless, a mental health addiction specialist. She was dispatched to the front lines to work with the drug unit.
All right, let's go.
What did they tell you about what they were thinking?
Basically, our city was in a crisis, and their officers were exhausted. And they knew that they were missing the ball, that they couldn't arrest their way out of it, and they weren't sure what to do, but this was something they wanted to try.
And so you were kind of making up this job as you went along at first?
We all were, yeah.
We'll send a girl down here to talk to you. She's not a cop, she's a civilian. She specializes in mental health services, especially rehab, but at least hear what she's got to say and take her card. How about that?
Would you be interested in talking about detox today and getting into a program?
What about me and him going together? Is that not allowed?
Typically, that's not something that we encourage. This was a whole process. Like, first I had to find my footing at the police department. Then I had to get in with the drug unit, which was rocky. And that was not a small task.
Tell me the first time someone brought up the idea of having this kind of softer edge to the efforts to curb drugs here. How did you react?
I'll be honest, I was a no, I don't want to hear this.
Because you thought what? You thought this is soft?
Same old thing.
Yeah.
Here we go. It's the same old thing. A bunch of people are going to talk and nothing's going to get done.
What's going on? I had to get out in the street and I had to really meet with people all the time and be there all the time, to the point where even Rocky came back to me and said, people talk to me now that didn't used to talk to me because they see me different because I have you with me.
Obviously on heroin because we found the needles in the bedroom. We were handing the addicts off to her so she could do her job, and that freed us up to do ours, which was target the drug dealer.
Standing just under 5 feet tall, Harless is a huge presence on the streets where she spends most of her working hours.
Hello.
The rest of the time, she's finding open beds in rehab and advocating for users in court. She gives all the addicts she meets her cell phone number.
Okay, so you have my number right here, the cell. You can call or text me anytime.
They call at all hours and on holidays, and she says she always answers.
Hey, can we talk for a second?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna give you my information first. My name's Krishana. Have you ever had treatment before?
Not really.
No? Are you interested in getting some treatment?
Awesome.
Well, I would like to work with you, help you figure out what would be best for you and get you in somewhere. There's a lot of individuals that are left in the aftermath that just need help. And that's where I get to go in. And as a social worker, that's huge because there is no other job that I could have that would afford me that opportunity to meet somebody in that position.
In that moment.
In that moment, and the look on their face. They just look like they just can't believe it.
No, we're not. So I've been at this for 27, almost 28 years, and I've seen programs come and programs go. Most were failures. Most did not fix a problem. Most moved a problem around, okay? Because I never had that option before, okay? I never had an option of rehab and recovery. Had a lot of talk, a lot of noise, but nobody ever really fulfilled that promise until now.
We spoke to dozens of police departments in areas hardest hit by the drug epidemic. But none has a program like Huntington's, putting a social worker like Harless on the front lines.
She has an incredible amount of patience. She will sit there and talk, and she's not pushy. She's not shoving something down somebody's throat. She just stands there, and she's very calm and collected and very passionate about what she does.
So noon tomorrow?
A passion and patience born out of pain. 3 years ago, she divorced her husband. Once a decorated soldier, he'd become a drug addict.
You know, and I would find myself, you know, out on my own trying to hunt him down because I was worried that he was dead, and finding him, like, you know, in a crack house. I really get it on a personal level. I know what it does to families. I know what it does to the person. And I think of that all the time because if somebody had have said, can I help you? And they really meant it and they helped us navigate the system, maybe things would be different.
Krishana Harless says her husband never accepted her help. Most addicts she meets do. Today, she's working with over 300 users. 73% of them have gone to rehab.
I remember going out looking for you.
Yeah, that's when I was on the streets.
Yeah.
Being a knucklehead.
Well, it's good to see where you're at now.
Yeah. I'm glad I'm still alive.
I am too.
The story will continue after this.
Are there enough programs and rehabilitation facilities for all the addicts that you come in contact with now?
It can be tricky, but I think that's one of the things that makes this program unique is that these individuals who are already suffering from addiction, they're not trying to navigate the system. They get to work with me and I can help them navigate the system. I would really like to help you get in somewhere. We don't ever turn somebody away. There's never a time that somebody says, I need help, and we're like, well, you'll have to wait a couple months.
And why is that so important? What can happen in a day, a week, a month?
Well, they might not be here anymore.
We saw that during our short time with Harless.
So what's been going on?
We met 33-year-old Norman Stanley, a year out of rehab and working construction. He told us he was clean, and Krishana Harless was a big reason why.
It's really good to be standing here with you and know that you're doing good.
But addiction isn't easily beaten. 4 months after we met, Norman Stanley overdosed on heroin and died.
Yeah, obviously in this job, I mean, we also see a lot of people that don't make it. And so you see a lot of people pass away, people that you might have worked with for a long time and they were doing good. Those are always hard days. Yeah.
Harless says she won't allow herself to be defeated by those hard days.
You got a few minutes to talk?
Yeah. Brianna DeMen started using drugs when she was a teenager. This was how she looked when she was first arrested at age 18 for DUI. This was her second arrest. Here, 26 years old, just 90 pounds. This past January, Krishana Harless got her out of jail and into treatment.
I'm glad I got to come here because the opportunities that they, offer you.
And you're in a long-term recovery program, which you need.
Yeah, I definitely do. Everybody's always told me that. I'm like, no, I can do this. But
you were out there for a long time.
It. But anyways.
So you're doing good.
Yeah, doing really good.
Ready to move to the next phase?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, you look good.
Thank you.
A lot of those faces and a lot of the people we dealt with over and over and over again, they're not here anymore. They're off to rehab or straightened their life up and moved on.
The program is part of a larger effort across the city and state to tighten controls on opioids and stiffen penalties for drug crimes.
Show up tomorrow at the health department.
Huntington's new approach is just over 2 years old, so questions linger about its long-term impact. But the immediate results are restoring a bit of hope here. Police say drug-related homicides are down almost 70%. Overdoses have dropped more than 40%.
We have to figure this out because it doesn't discriminate, and it's not like people always say, like, why do you want to work with those people? And I'm like, what are those people? People? I mean, because it can be anybody. It really can.